you're live, but the sound isn't working because I let Chaos touch shit, and now it's all fucked. Yeah. What did he do? Chaos broke my goddamn stream, and I don't know how to unfuck it. Hilariously, that's the only audio that anyone can hear is me just complaining. Yeah, well, they're playing again if it is.
Drop mystics.
Nobody can hear you doing anything. No, nobody can hear anything except me complaining about Chaos breaking my stream. So, hey guys, welcome to Chaos Live. Eventually, we'll have C9 River and Wounded Satellite in the booth, but I let the boss man touch something, and yeah, it's not so great, but we'll get there. Oh, that's not great. It's beautiful. Yeah, hey, Thieves Magic, if you want to hop in the booth and help me figure this out live, you're more than welcome to. It's not like it's gonna change anything. I'm trying to figure it out now. How did he do this? Now I have no audio. Sweet. Cool. I hate it. Oh, I think I know the problem. Maybe. I can hear you. I can hear everything. The chat can hear me, but that's all anyone hears, and that's the interesting conundrum I'm having. Yeah. No. No. Just the Streamlabs mixer, yeah, but not an external one. Single. Might as well.
This is great.
Boom, there we are. Found it.
Are we live?
Yep.
Oh, I can't talk about wieners no more.
Wait, you're telling me that the stream can now hear me talking, just to confirm.
Well, I'm not on the stream. Hey,
Let me check.
Hey,
let me
chat.
unmute it and I'll check. All right, go ahead and talk.
Testing, testing.
Yep, we're good.
Sweet.
Nice.
What is up, guys? Is there a way that we can see the stream chat?
We can just pull it up,
Pulling it up, yeah.
right?
All right,
Pull it
have a
up
good
on
one,
Twitch.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yep.
buddy.
How do you pull it up?
Go to Twitch.
You can just pull up the Ka0s tournament stream on Twitch.
Twitch.tv/
Twitch?
Ka0s tournaments.
Just mute it.
Yeah.
Sweet. We are there.
There we go.
Amazing.
All right, let me go actually flip these board states around for you guys and give you something you can actually cast with, huh?
Yeah, whose turn is it currently? Because I've been
So
slightly paying attention.
Heliod did a intuition that they believe are resolving right now, unless it was countered. Looks like it was flustered by TCM Biscuit. Might be our most current reality.
Okay.
Once we see an untap, I'll know exactly whose turn it is.
So Biscuit no longer has their fish. We still have Ristic in play. Other fish also
I
gone
mean,
now.
Grand Abolisher and Dockside feeling pretty good. Maybe it's his turn.
Sahili. Yeah, okay.
The Healy, clone the Dockside. What is the current count on board? Grand Abolisher means no cracking
1, 2,
treasures. You get 1, 2,
3,
3, 4,
4,
5,
6.
6. What is that? A Myrel on the top says?
Yeah, that's my row.
Okay, so it looks like just a count of 6 in total. Not quite enough to win if they are going through Sisse lines, but depending what else they got, there's a
Their
Ristic Study.
own Ristic Study.
Keeping it chill.
Paying the 1 as well. Oh. Are they paying the 1? They are paying the 1. That's really good.
And who says there's no value Grand Abolishers?
Exactly. Going into Big's turn. I'm kind of curious to see how they're positioned currently, because just on board, unless they also have their own Sahili or something else to copy Dockside, I feel like they're really behind this game. And not where they want to be on Sisse.
Is Heliod on the battlefield or back in the command zone?
It's in the command zone currently.
Okay, never got cast there. Heliod is it's one of those decks that makes the game a sub-game.
Yep.
And he's got 13 cards in hand. I mean, that Heliod is coming back out.
That's going to be the biggest problem now that people's Mystics are gone. Obviously with the Ristic, but Heliod's just able to do so much underneath Ristic Study. I don't think they care, especially as a deck that's able to hold up so much interaction. Like,
I mean, everyone is so blown away with the power of Born Upon a Wind in the current meta. This ability to be opportunistic. Mm-hmm. And Heliod is just a deck that always has an active Born Upon a Wind. That's their entire vibe. They get to sit and chill and act like they don't care about anything until there is a literal win on the stack or someone tries to force the issue and blow up their Heliod.
Yeah, that's like the big reason people are running, like, are even thinking about the new Geist, right? The guy that allows you to cast things at instant speed on end steps, because the ability to not be active on your turn and take actions off of your turn, holding up mana is just so strong. Like, holding up mana just scares so many people for going for it.
Final Word Phantom is one of those cards. I really like it. I'm very excited to test it. The issue with Final Word Phantom is it's not always active. It's only on the end step. And because of that, you're able to really confidently force the issue. And sometimes you're going to screw people over, because if they untap with a Final Word Phantom and they just decide to go Drago Pass because they think they have Vidalcan Orrery, essentially. If I'm just in my Vein phase, I'll just say, okay, I'm going to kill your Final Word Phantom.
Yep.
And if you sacrifice an entire turn of development because you thought you'd be able to just send things in at flash speed whenever it suited you best, that's not the way that card is always going to function.
Well, we have a Hullbreaker Horror that resolves, and now a...
How do you even cast that?
Chromox? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have
6, 7,
straight 7. Yeah.
At exactly 7 mana. Okay.
With 0 drop in hand. I don't know if this is Chromox or not. I can't tell by the art.
Either way, once you get Mana Crypt and Soul Ring there, you're good to go. As if they have a colored one, then it's over.
Yeah. Well, they have a lot of cards in hand, so they could just exile the Chromox for colors they need.
I mean, getting 1 or 2, maybe. But then you resolve the wheel, and I assume win from there.
Still has to worry about Ristic Study, I think.
No, not with Mana Crypt and Soul Ring. Because Mana Crypt and Soul Ring with Ristic will have a collective cost of 3 if you're paying for both Ristics, but they will produce 4. So you can go pure infinite colorless on top of the Ristic Study here.
Okay, then yeah, should just be game. Depending on what they have in hand, but I assume they're going for it.
You're not casting the Hullbreaker there if you're not winning the game.
Yeah. I'm assuming they're going for it. I assume he's just presenting the loop currently to them, asking if it's good.
Okay. That is a Arcane Signet, I believe.
Yeah. Filter for Trillion blue white. Cast Heliod.
Okay. Commander in play. Flip the guy.
Oh, it looks like with the Heliod cast, they bounced Ristic Study. Flipping. I assume if no one's responded at this point, you just show in.
I believe. All right, I'm gonna say that that's an altered prosperity.
Yeah, I cannot read these cards.
I'm gonna take a wild guess that that's a prosperity, which is X blue. Each player draws X cards. So not only does it provide you cost reduction, it's essentially a wheel, but it's a wheel that scales as you get more cards going. That's not a real Magic art. That's 100% an alter or
Yeah.
a proxy.
Looks like they're counting cards in
Yes,
deck.
nailed it. Nailed it.
Yep, and that's just the scoop.
GG. Good win, good win. Are we getting another game or was that it?
I mean, that was a good setup by Heliod, honestly.
Very well done.
Yeah, that was too fast. Our fans want more. I feel like such a degenerate right now, putting all of my proxies in a binder because they're like fake cards, but I'm tired of them just being in random deck boxes. Yeah, especially if I'm gonna constantly like buy more proxies, I definitely need to know like which ones I already have, so I don't have like 12 of one and not using all 12.
I've got one deck box that I have full proxies, alphabetically sorted.
Mine are alphabetical, but that's what I have currently, and I've been needing to switch off of it because I just really need more space. Plus, they're my favorite deck boxes. They're like the clear boulders, and some of my decks are in like not clear boulders, and I would like them to be swapped over. Let's
Love to see
go.
it. Yeah, most of my decks were like all proxy for a long time. But then I keep like winning with them, and then when I win with the deck, I usually put the winnings like into the deck and get it
Yep.
presents. like suddenly Ob gets back-to-back top fours, and he's a lot shinier than he once was.
Yeah, that's been my goal. I already have a couple cards. Not a couple. I have like half of Teferi already done. Obviously, just not the like expensive stuff. But the whole deck is still proxied until I get a full non-proxy Teferi deck, and then I'll swap over. But got to win that time twister, and
I believe in you.
I have a tournament coming up in Tennessee, so we'll see. I'm gonna have to face some really good players that I see a lot. So, but
Who's
I got
over in the area?
Eric, the Mad King. He comes up.
Oh, okay.
Traffic
He'll
Cone.
be facing Corvald.
Yeah, I have played against him once before. That was a very unfortunate game. He did win. It was grats to him. He played it really well. But yeah,
Eric.
Yeah,
I've never actually had a game against Eric. I just know he's a big Corval guy.
He's super sweet. He's like one of my favorite community members. Him and Lamora as well. Like they're just super sweet dudes.
I was fortunate to talk to them. Even it was honestly before I even knew their show existed. I just like randomly saw a thing on Twitter, and it was after I had a couple top fours with Kinnan. And I was like, I'll come on and talk about Kinnan if you want. And they immediately just had me on the show. And I was like, oh, hey.
Yep.
So that was how I got to meet them. They're super nice people.
They really are. I very much enjoy talking with them. Eric will spectate my games when we're in Tennessee, which is nice. He spectated a Corvold player I was against who I told like, "Hey, don't go for the win." Eric saw my hand, and you could see in his face he was hoping the Corvold player didn't go for it, and the Corvold player went for it. He didn't get there, and
Nope.
the disappointment in Eric's face.
I was in a local event here in Colorado where it was me, Temujin, and Waffle in the finals. It was a crazy final spot for a local.
That sounds wild, actually.
Yeah, it's quite. It was. We all got breakfast in the morning and like joked about it being the finals pod. But the other guy was on exactly my Kinnan list, and the last guy in the top 4. And I mulled to 3 that game. I never mattered. And when the Kinnan player went for it, Temujin looked at him and he said, "You are absolutely not beating my hand. Like, don't do this right now." But Temujin's just like not known for politicking like that. So after the game, after we lost because the Kinnan player went for it, and then Waffle was able to utilize the loss of interaction there. I looked at Temujin. I was like, I think your best line was handing me your hand and having me tell him not to go for
it. Yeah.
If you had shown, because I'm all the 3, I was out of that game. If you had just shown me your hand and said, "Max, tell him what you think here," and he shows me his hand, which was like 5 counter spells and a silence, like, I would have said, "Bro, don't go for it."
Yep. Sometimes you gotta take that risk, man. I always tell players like, hey, if you think you could, it's because it's happened before, right? Like, I'll have what I think is adequate interaction. Sometimes people just have a little more than me. If you think you got it, you know what? Shoot for the moon, but be very weary because if I tell you like my favorite line in tournament play is always when somebody's thinking and you can tell they're digging in the tank. I always go, "Does your decision change any this turn? If I tell you I can counter whatever you're doing?" And every time the look on their face is like, "Yep, I'm gonna do this and pass."
I say,
cool.
Show me the. I don't. If someone ever says that to me, I say, "Show me the answer."
Oh, I always will too.
Yeah,
I'm very
if you show me the
open about
answer,
that stuff.
I'm also big on revealing information. It's my favorite thing to do. When you're against multiple proactive decks, I'll just literally put my Force Will face up in my hand. I'll drop it on the table per se, and I'll say, "Look, if you can't beat it, don't do it." And I've sat there for turns, as none of them can just beat a single Force Will. But my favorite thing recently is on some of the Italian games I've played. I've had some of them end late night where someone will just look at me and they'll say, "All right, do you have more than 3 pieces of interaction?" And I'll concede, and I'll just reveal 5.
Yep.
I'm like, "Are we good?"
That's actually why I enjoyed Tassiger for so long. Was just
convince people to give you back Mindbreak Trap.
Mindbreak Trap and Fierce Guardianship, and they'll do it every time.
Oh, and they're gonna, if it's that or lose. Yeah, if you're just like, "Hey, if you give me back this Deadly Relic, I'll get rid of that Kinnan."
Yep.
It's pretty easy politics. People are like, "Oh, okay."
Well, it looks like we're already off to the races. We have a turn 1 Ignoble Hierarch out of the Sisay player in seat 1, and we currently have Chromox. I don't know what Chromox is imprinting.
It almost looks like a land.
Just Tundra.
I'm gonna play
it does look like a land. It can't be a land.
It can't, but it does look like one.
It does look like a land. I don't know why. It looks like Bayou to
me. Yeah, I'm sorry, Milton.
Are you though?
All right, we get a fetch out of Heliod. Or no. Oh, is that a Mystic Remora?
You're good. Go
okay.
On.
This guy likes to keep his battlefield spread out.
I think how he is kind of irrelevant.
Well, it looks like it's C3's turn. That is a Mystic Remora.
Good. Yeah, definitely.
We're already on to
Ignoble, not so good.
Yep, Exotic Orchard.
Mystic.
Or are you watching on the Twitch or are you watching on the VOD?
I'm watching on the VOD.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you behind? Because I can watch from the.
No. I'm on the VOD. I was just making sure.
Okay, cool.
You were saying you were saying player 3's turn when player 4 was casting a spell. So
oh, yeah. I meant.
I got you. I really appreciate how Heliod is just playing blue and white cards on a blue and white playmat. That's really helpful for us.
Yeah. Also, that's one of my all-time favorite arts. Not the Starry Night, but the Great Wave at Kanagawa. I have it like everywhere in my house.
It's a great painting.
This is a turn 2 Sisay.
Really well with the Mystic Remora. Okay, Mana Crypt, Sisay. What card is in the yard there? Is that did he Vamp Tutor for? He Vampiric Tutored an upkeep for Mana Crypt, got Mana Crypt, plays Sisay. Okay.
And now we are on the next Sisay player's turn. That's always awkward. Sisay player after Sisay player. And
Oh, we got a
Agatha's
cauldron.
Soul Cauldron.
What
Just
if my Gaia's Cradle made Sisay activations? That'd be cool.
yeah. This is
Also
I'll play
has a mana crypt.
Quasi Heroes.
How'd
and
they get a
Arcane
mana crypt?
Signet.
this is not looking that great.
That's good. I will have to
Uh,
go and pass.
for the rest
I
of the
mean,
table, unfortunately.
Draw.
I am significantly more terrified of TCM than I am of Big.
Yes, no, 100%. In this board state currently with Cauldron in field, like on field, yeah.
Cauldron just makes it easier, but at the same time, Big is in a better position to dockside win because they already have Sisay on board. That's the trade-off.
And plenty of artifacts. But at this point, it's 5. That's more 5, 6. That's already enough.
Yeah, really good number. What is on the board for
Mobile?
I think it's Arcane Signet. Milton's cards are
It
incorrect
is
cards.
Arcane Signet. It is Arcane Signet.
Hard to see.
I think that's Plaza of Heroes, Netherland, Arcane Signet.
Suki, would you like to eat the rest of this pasta? Enjoy, my dog.
This is a scare. If this is a dockside from Big, I think this is really scary for the table for sure.
I'm sorry.
Like-
if he has a dockside in hand as well, he stacked his deck. Get out of here.
True.
Move to combat. I don't even know who's swing at. Nobody runs Nas in the here.
I would hit Biscuit.
I wonder. I mean, given the playmat, I hope he does his Sisay activations by performing the summoning jutsu.
That would. I would lose. I would lose my shit.
I do that. I've done that on stream when I activate Kinnan and I hit the correct creature. I'll do the summoning jutsu.
That is awesome. God, I need to do that in Ludovic when I bring out Ginger Taxis. There's the dockside, like we were talking about.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Pass on dockside.
Is that Sisay tapped?
Yes, he went to combat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I don't know
to
why.
give it.
Yeah, it's 6.
Oh wait, yeah. Why?
Oh wait,
Is it
that
until
does
end
give
of
it a power
turn?
boost. It's until end of turn.
Okay,
so, it did
so
give
yeah,
it
so it's
a
a 3.
exalted power boost. That's actually really hot.
Cast the chromatic orrery.
Okay,
What?
that is
Chromatic
a
Ori?
chromatic ori. Okay, we
That's
are piloting on
scary.
easy mode now. Well, no, now just activate Sisay. Oh wait. So Sisay's power is only 2 here.
Yep.
Or only 3, so it can only
3.
get a 2-drop. It needs 1 more power, and he's good to go.
So that's 5. Going to.
Yeah. Show me a clone. That is a
Mm.
Nick. It's a Planeswalker. Is it Nicobolas?
Teferi who slows the sunset?
He plays Teferi who slows the sunset? No way, dude. Maybe that's the full art of it. I can't say for sure. If I see Chromatic Ori untap, then yes. Creature,
This will
land.
untap Chromatic Ori. Yeah.
Yeah, no, if that is Teferi who slows the sunset. Okay, GG's.
Yep.
Now
Yep.
Sisay has enough power, now he gets to Revi, now he does everything. Easy peasy.
Yeah,
Go get a
that's
meal.
like we said. The moment Dockside hit the board, there, that's game. You have to answer
That was
That's
absolutely
wild.
cracked. That was cracked. You are already dead. Ready to go.
Yep.
What a game.
I mean, that was well piloted. I think it's a card a lot of people don't see coming, and it's just another Agatha Soul for Sisay. Like, here's this card that says all my mana does what I want it to. Do I win?
Right. I mean, I don't think anyone denies the power of Agatha's Soul Cauldron. It's a question of this shit is 7 mana.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
so expensive. Like
It
Agatha's
really
is
is.
2. You know, Agatha's is 2 mana, Chromatic is 7. The times I've mainly seen Chromatic Ori are decks that are able to utilize the double Uberg +1 chain from 0 power Sisay to
Yeah.
just get like Cultist of the Absolute into Dihada into Chromatic Ori.
I'm just gonna put him down here and put him in the order I'll grab him.
Very good.
Okay, he's showing the win line in low res.
I mean, this is what Emanatu.
Oh, I mean,
Flicker,
you can do
right?
any number.
Or
of ways
actually,
with
yeah, no, you were right,
position.
Derevi. This is just like Derevi into Emanatu into Nicol Bolas into.
I wouldn't even. Well, I mean, at this point, it's literally you choose which way you want to win. Like, I would if I was doing him, I'd probably go, okay, I'll get Derevi, and then I would like to get a meal, and then I would like to go infinite with Derevi and a meal, and then I would like to get Mount Doom, and then I would like to infinitely kill you with Mount Doom.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right. It does do that, but except I don't have ways to loop Dockside by itself because I'm running.
Unless Okay, there's the Amanatu.
Mhm.
Okay, so they're just showing the chain, yeah.
They're just showing the chain. I mean, if you choose to go Amanatu, Nicobola, Sahili, like that works as well. There's so many
Yeah.
ways to win from here. If I was him, honestly, I mean, I see a City of Brass on St. Milton's board. I would like to infinitely tap and untap that with my direct V, please.
Yep.
That is my favorite way to do
That should
this.
be fine. So I will grab the last one. The last card I'll grab in this chain will be Oath of Teferi to give them another ability.
Yeah, decks like this at
I'll
least are
find it.
easy to explain and show cards for.
Right.
Oath.
So
they'll
it's
come
not
in
too bad to be like,
Rao,
here's how I
Amanatu,
do the
Oath.
thing, I win.
Or
Like
next search, we'll grab Chainveil.
Chain
And
Veil.
then do
Okay,
infinite activations
unnecessary,
of
but I like
Chainveil
the
with using
card.
Malwalkers. And then
Yeah,
I will infinitely
that's a card.
uptick Gaia Drone to leave
Okay,
That's-
Gaia
everybody
Drone
who's too high
Dihada.
from all games
Yep.
Sure.
Got it.
Why not?
Let's show you a.
Yep, that is
quick
game.
I'll just.
That was
I'll figure
that
it
was a
out.
flex
What
if I've ever seen one.
What I appreciate about Sisse is what I think is the best Brewers Advantage deck. You know, in the same category as like Time and all those other Brewers Advantage. People don't fully understand how you function decks. But what I appreciate about Sisse is when it does the thing, it just wins immediately. It doesn't make you sit and torture for half an hour.
Yeah, and especially like if you're
Well, I was just
a
gonna DT for
pretty
Vol, I
well
just
versed
knew that I
player
needed the next
and you're
one.
sitting across from a Sisse like player, like there's plenty of times I can sit down and watch like a Sisse pilot do the thing, and I just kind of know. Like I can look at their board and go like, "You win here, right?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, I win here," and it's like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense." I don't want to play this out. Like if I don't have interaction, I have nobody does. Like I'm cool to scoop. But it is definitely it's a very rewarding deck as well. It's one of the few decks in the format. I won't say few. It's one of the best decks in the format that shows like I think pilot growth slash skill as well, because there's so many ways that you can freely build this deck that aren't ever necessarily wrong. Because it's not just like 5 color, it's good soup. It's just
Mhm.
here's a deck that allows me to do something that doesn't utilize the stack, which is why Time gets away with as much as it can. Because not utilizing the stack's just so good in a format where like nobody's really running stifles, nobody's running as much spot removal as they probably should, and so Sisse just gets to underneath of everybody's stuff go, here's a win, and everyone goes, Sage you are best. Like
Pretty much. I mean, Sisse, it's one of those decks. You see people build it with rule of laws. You see people build it
Yep.
with everything because it just plays under everything extremely well. If you are allowed to develop your mana, you win the game. If you are allowed to sneak away with Dockside, you win the game. If people don't touch you and they don't see the writing on the wall, you win the game. It takes advantage of ignorance so well. But that's why, I mean, Sisse is one of the decks. If you look at the decks that I primarily play, if you look at Kinnan, if you look at Obnixilis, if you look at Talion, I am playing so much on board removal, and I do not know why other decks are not playing more. You need to have answers to things.
Yeah, so I primarily play Teferi. And one of the things I've done, so I'm still on, like, it's not complicated to explain, it's just complicated to do the old Time Twister loop with Resculpt and the card that exiles and puts the top card of their library onto the battlefield.
Reality Shift.
Reality Shift. There's a way with Teferi where eventually I'm just going to exile your whole deck. And but those cards are so versatile, and the reason why I still run that line is because having the ability to just go, oh, you're doing a thing with this, you're going to clone your Dockside? No, exile it. Oh, you're about to untap and win with your Sisse? No, I'm going to head and remove that. And most people just aren't prepared for you to even have the removal. So like just I even run like Pongify just to have extra access to like
Absolutely.
this creature removal.
I've recently cut Resculpt for Chain of Vapor and Kinnan, and I've definitely missed the ability to exile things at times. What I have appreciated, though, with the mana efficiency of Chain is we're just in this mid-range meta. Everyone's got a lot of cards. No one is choked on the amount of interaction they have. They're choked on the mana they have for interaction. So I think there is due credit for mana efficiency, but when you're looking at a deck like Mono Blue Teferi, your resource access of advantage is mana. You make so much mana. It's wild.
Absolutely.
People need to put respect on intellectual offering. That card is busted.
So after you and I had our talk, I actually started playing it again because I'm on the like draw mana sinks because I don't care about Bowmaster anymore. I don't think.
Yeah, who cares?
My deck, like even if I take 38 damage, 39 damage, I can still just win the game. I just don't care what other people are doing. And yeah, no, it's been really nice because people they don't like. I even put in Dramatic Reversal as just another way to generate more mana and untap the One Ring. I had a game the other night. I drew like 20 some odd cards off the One Ring in one turn, like just going for it, and then I just get there because well now I have like a couple counter spells, removal, everything I need. Here's Transmute Artifact. Does anybody want to play this out? And then it's like, nope, scoop. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean the way to play those decks that have which Teferi, I appreciate that it can be opportunistic and snipe very quick win attempts. Like when I was playing that deck for a little bit, a lot of my games did end very very quickly where I just had some busted mana starts. But it is, I mean, it runs a very high density of interaction with just being mono blue. It also just is a turns deck, which allows you to untap your ring even more. But then you're also on every single key. Teferi untaps things, Dramatic Reversal, Glacial Offering. That deck has an insane density of untapping effects.
Yeah, and with the lack of like, which kind of surprises me, not really because everyone's on the One Ring, but with the lack of like Collector Oof, Kataki's War Wage esque effects, it's kind of surprising that I'm like, I feel like I'm getting away with a lot. Which I'm not saying Teferi's like a bad deck or anything. I love the deck, I do well with it, but when I play that deck, when I make certain game actions, I'm like, man, I feel like if people were on more punishing effects, they would just win against me more. Like, for instance, I'm on 4 mana Karn. One, I can afford to be, but
I
two,
love it.
a one-sided oof effect ruins people's games. Like the amount of games I win with just landing that, or even just Wandering Archaic and passing, even if I'm tapping out for those effects, is like so high because my opponents now have to play from like 2 lands, and the colors they fetch for weren't the colors that they were going to need, in future turns. They did it for obviously what they had in hand, and then we're relying on mana rock mana, and people don't realize they do that until it's like, well, here's the punishing effect. Is your deck built to like last around it? Nope. GG.
Yeah, Karn is incredible. Karn is a card that I've loved for a long time. I played it in Kinnan for a while. I ended up finally cutting it in exchange for Trinisphere, which I think is better in that specific strategy. But I run Karn in Talion, and like it's a card I genuinely tutor for. And that's one of the big play differences in when you're on a more control focused strategy is like when you're in the timed Swiss rounds, you often have to tutor for more proactive pieces. But when I'm chilling in the late rounds, like I'm tutoring for Curse Totem, I'm tutoring for Karn, I'm tutoring for Shieldred. I'll just hang out. I got no reason to rush this.
Yeah, I got nowhere to be. I'll absolutely slow the game. No times. Like that's where I think that's what Max said in the Discord, in your guys' Colors Are Crutch Discord too, was he told people like don't underestimate Talion and Untimed Rounds. Like Talion and Untimed Rounds is like that's the same with like Teferi or any other deck. Untimed Rounds give so much benefit to those decks because I get to basically play the game how I want. I can counter whatever I want. I can sandbag however. I don't have to worry about the game ending because 75 minutes went by. I can play for 3 hours straight and not have to worry about it. And that's like the best part I personally love about control style decks because it's hard getting up to like top 16, top 4s with that strategy sometimes. But like if you know how to navigate certain situations, it's not that difficult and you do get rewarded once you hit top 16.
Definitely. I mean, I definitely am not ready to say Talion is like a tier 1 deck or anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very, very good deck. But I do think if rounds and tournaments were entirely untimed, I do think Talion would actually be top 5.
Oh, 100%.
Like if you could play only untimed rounds, yeah, Talion is insane.
She offers she's like one of the first blue black decks I've really enjoyed in a long time. She just offers so much. J-Dog getting to go first with Timna Crom. This feels criminal. This is rigged.
Lotus Petal. Oh, hello. Oof. Hello. Show me Jeweled Lotus. Maybe. No.
Cool. I'll draw.
Jeweled Lotus Crom would be hot.
Oh, I gotta go feed my dog. I'll be right back.
Lotus Petal.
Sure.
Noble Hierarch.
Sure. Oh, there goes the trap.
Yeah, it landed on my lap. I'll sack the Lotus Petal for a red, cast a Ragavan.
The monkey.
Yeah. I'll pass.
Turn.
Looks like he passed after that.
Yeah.
What do we have going on over here? Oh, Lotus Petal Hierarch land. Or land Hierarch Lotus Petal Ragavan. It's a pretty decent start. for Sisay. We already have a legendary creature on board at 1 mana. It's basically where we want to be. Having a 3/3 once our Sisay comes out next turn is really good. Access to all colors because of Ragavan. Seems like J-Dog's probably not going to be open next turn, and looks like that's a turn 1 Heliod, so they're really hoping Biscuit doesn't play a creature they want to block with. I don't think they're going to block with Hierarch at this point.
Okay, I don't understand why Heliod would do that, if I'm being completely honest.
Turn 1 Heliod, I'm not a fan of, but like
No, that's not the way I've seen the deck have success with that play pattern. You don't want to just jam Heliod because right now you can't protect it well, you can't flip it yet and gain advantage off of it well. What's the point? Like, why do that?
The only thing I can think of is just the Ragavan blocker, but it's gonna be a 3/2 when it swings. What is Heliod's power and toughness?
Heliod, I think, is a 4/4.
So yeah, it would work as a great blocker. Hopefully,
Sure,
I
but
guess you're hoping that J-Dog plays creature, Biscuit plays creature, and they miss land drop for no Sisay. But
right, but you are risking an entire sacrifice of you playing this game.
Oh,
just to avoid a
100%.
Ragavan getting in. If
Yeah.
they blow up your Heliod right now, you are so screwed.
I'm gonna pass so I can block the monkey.
Yeah.
My favorite
There's only one
Heliod
person
pilot
who's
will
gonna
always
win
be
because it was a
Smalls.
safe block.
And
Yes.
Smalls
Or
plays
safe.
this deck patiently. They will never play as Heliod unnecessarily. He normally won't even play it until he can flip it right away, from what I've seen. Like, sometimes he'll play it out, but only when he can protect it for sure.
Here's
Sisay
the-
coming in with just Ragavan into Kinnan, that
Which-
is going to be some rapid speed Sisay right here. These hands are cracked.
Yeah, this is about to be Sisay.
Into combat.
Like, this is just a Sisay this turn, and
That's
the
true.
next turn is
Exactly.
activation with a 5/5 Sisay. That's
Let's go.
really
Kinda
crazy.
Alright.
It
Make
looks
a
like
treasure. I will
they
cast
got in.
Ability.
You should just let that remain exile.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't blame
probably,
Biscuit
but
for not blocking
I
there.
would like to cast my command
No,
as
you
well.
never do
I'm
that
gonna
there.
sack this for 2
Yeah.
tap for 2 white. Cast
Mhm.
Nagila.
1,
That's not your
2.
commander.
No, it's not. I'm
That
gonna
was
sack
not a
the
Sisay.
alien.
Was that a Najila?
Yeah, no.
It looks like Nagila.
Let's go.
4,
Najila
1, that's
and Sisay?
five.
That's not possible. I don't know how much mana you
Um,
think you
yeah,
had, but
you
you
have
did
to
not
do
have
that.
that much.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. is
1,
math,
2,
'cause I was
3,
seeing if, like, my
4.
jagged
Yeah,
edge
no,
hand or
unless
not.
Definitely not.
It's not the way that
Yeah,
works.
I'll just pass the
It's not the way that works.
Or hold on, Sisay, I draw a card. Oh,
Yes,
actually, I
Sisay.
should
Judge?
The
Hey, and
J-Dog?
are we just miscounting?
Judge? Judge?
Yeah.
This is not possible.
Whatever. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Unless the
It's a
Sisay
bad
is
card either
not
way.
is like representative of something else.
I'm passing.
So he had Noble Hire Cup with Kinnan, and he swung Ragavan in and got 1 treasure. And he was able to cast both Najila and Sisay, which are a collective mana cost of 6, while he had a total mana of 4. So something is wrong.
Yeah, because they
there.
cast the Kinnan this turn.
Yeah, they used their 2 lands on Kinnan. They had Noble Hierarch on tap. They swung with Ragavan and Mana Treasure. Treasure and Noble Hierarch equates to 4 total mana. I don't understand how they have Najila and Sisay.
Unless we missed something, but
How?
I'm not seeing anything
had
that
I had an
seems like we
LED.
could have missed it.
Yeah, he had an LED.
because the pedal
from
was
Biscuit.
used turn 1 for
Yes, that was used turn 1 on
Yeah.
Noble Hierarch.
He yoinked my LED
Or
from
on
one.
Ragavan.
Ragavan.
number 1.
Yeah,
Yes.
Ragavan.
Yeah.
Because they had Trop Island for
Yes.
the
Yeah.
Hierarch.
He didn't have one. I had one. He
And I
cast
just
So
it.
cast
something
it,
doesn't
and
make
then
sense.
Immediately sacked it.
Yes.
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 Sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
that
Okay.
would make sense.
Let me move
Bullshit.
that to
That
the-
works.
No,
Yeah,
no
you're
problem.
welcome. Yeah, we're good.
Oh, don't think then.
Sorry.
Arcane Signet.
Yo, what the?
Sure.
Wait a minute. Well then, yeah, I think this is
Where's my
like,
Deluge Deluge at?
I think this is 100% Big's game to lose.
Yeah, I mean, that's
The
a
table
crazy
has
card.
to, the table has to answer. Like
Right?
Milton.
I mean, the funny
Yeah,
thing here
Milton,
is
I think
he's
when I
actually
draw
able
Tides
to just
Daily,
go
I think
off
we
with
need to get rid of
Najila. He doesn't need
Kylo's
Sisay. He
board.
can just use Sisay to get Derevi,
Yes.
I'm gonna
which
play
is
this
hilarious.
turtle and
I mean,
cast
you can
it.
top
Yeah,
it for the-
actually, yeah, you're correct. Now that I'm counting, yeah, that is wild. Okay, well,
That's scary.
Um,
3 mana available.
Swing
Huh.
with Sisay, Najila, Kinnan.
Play
3
a
untaps.
Whittles.
I guess and Ragavan. Get 4 untaps plus
Very
treasure
good.
with Ragavan.
Or yeah,
That will.
nobody has.
Well, actually, I guess he
a
needs
hand,
mana
and
colors,
you
so he
have-
needs Agatha's Soul
well,
Cauldron, and he has it
Biscuit is
easy.
the match
Um,
again.
he has black, blue,
Okay, I'm just like
green,
had to look up for a second.
black,
Like,
blue, green, and then
But
hierarch
he,
colors.
Biscuit
he only has
wants to do it,
3
it's
sources
sure.
right now, and Kinnan can't give you 2 separate colors, so
no,
Oh,
yeah.
true. I guess.
so he is missing pips.
Yeah.
So it's a cauldron game, is what he needs here.
Can I? Yeah, the plateau.
I mean, I'd still.
Yeah,
This
no,
is
I
still
think
a
you're
part.
right.
Like, if I'm at this table, I'm in this pod. I'm telling the table, like, hey,
This plateau.
Sisay untaps and like wins. If they don't win, they're like in such a dominating position. We either need to like collectively stop them, or like, good luck trying to win
Maybe.
beforehand. But
The world may
because
never
once she doesn't have to use the stack,
The
like,
world may never know.
good luck.
God, I miss those ads. What drawer is on my desk? This one.
I'm wondering what Milton has with the turn 1 Heliod
1, 2, or
into
3.
turn 2 Arcane Signet, only leaving up 1 mana into what's happening currently.
Take a damage.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I mean, the good news is, like, Big B having no hand here, they can say very confidently, hey, I can't win. I know this
Yeah.
is scary, but you know I can't win yet.
Oh,
But they're very
Florus.
close.
Yeah, Fireball.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
Sisay being a 5/5 though, that's like
Terrifying.
very
Absolutely
terrifying.
Yeah, anything 4 and above is terrifying.
Actually, I just realized something. I
Okay,
think Big
staying out.
might actually still be able to win
Or
with what's on
Pella.
board, as long
I'm
as
not
Ragavan
winning. I'm
hits.
just actually counting it. Just
Why
in
do you say
case
that?
There's a fluster or something else
Uh,
coming up.
I think
So
Assuming he top decks a land, you mean?
1.
yes, assuming they can top deck land get to Revy. If they swing with board,
Yeah, but they can't get to Revi because they would still, if they play a land, they only have 4 mana sources before Ragavan hits.
they'd have
So they
Clint, right?
are no, they have 2
With a
lands,
land?
Noble
Snap the
Hierarch.
cannon.
Oh, you're
So-
right, because
Yeah.
they don't
So
have
they're
all
still
colors
one
still,
short,
yeah.
and they need the Derevi before combat hits to be able to go off. And also, Cannon is now bounced. So,
Which
Ooh.
is very nice for the table.
I mean, it doesn't even really matter because Kinnan wasn't providing them any
Wheel of
additional
Fortune?
colors.
Oh,
It lowers Sisay's power, which is helpful.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it doesn't change what they were able to do because Kinnan was providing extra mana of the same colors, and they just need different colors. But
Yeah.
bouncing the Kinnan and then wheeling makes a little more sense here.
Yeah.
Are we scared of this?
That I
I
can
kinda am.
respect.
I'm just trying to get rid of the cannon out of his hand.
yeah.
I'm more worried that
Wheeling
you're count-
into
You're-
I'm
Heliod.
okay with it too. I kept a bad hand.
Oh,
on
he's
the
not
games
flipped.
first.
We're good.
Yeah.
I'm just more
I'll
worried
let
that
it
he's
go through.
filling his yard.
Yeah, I got.
Yeah, I
hardly-
mean,
got
I
hardly
don't
punished by keeping
blame
no
this
blue
play,
mana with
honestly.
A land that had a fish, a brain freeze, a Rhystic study,
Yep,
and a
It looks like it's resolving.
Yeah.
Biscuit's own Kinnan also
Rory
going to
Signet,
grave.
one,
Keynote. That's
Chaos going to
really
flush
good for the table as well.
Windswept.
Got him.
City of Brass. Cycloncraft.
Kinnan.
I'm kind of
Yeah,
if I'm here though, I am worried about Milton getting a new grip. I don't know exactly what they pitched, but for them to have such a slow start, it feels like the likelihood of them having something better now
Damn.
is something I would be wary of.
I mean, it's weird to me to keep a hand just on the power of Jeweled Lotus with Heliod because, like we said, you need to have that early development to be able to assemble a situation that allows you to win. So if he's a smart Heliod player, which I want to assume he is, like his hand
Yes,
probably
we're
had
good,
something
Milton.
going on, probably a wheel or something to progress towards. I can see a Flusterstorm on top of the
would
graveyard
like
there, so he's lost
Yeah.
that. Had good interaction, which
I thought
again,
we were
is this
dying.
really the best
That's a
Flusterstorm
lot.
pot? It really only hits
Yeah.
blue
I
farm.
didn't think we were dying.
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely.
And even
hope
then,
we
it doesn't look like
were.
J-Dog's trying to do much except for that wheel. With a Mystic Remora in play now,
That's a great setup.
Uh,
I mean, when I'm mulliganing on Timna
It's a
Crom and I'm talking
grass.
people through that deck, plan A, B, C, and D is just card advantage.
Yeah.
Your deck doesn't synergize. You don't need to develop and have these pieces that work together. We're talking with Sisse about, oh, they need this to go with this now, or they need this to go with this. They're a synergy deck. They have pieces that work together. Blue Farm just says, I'm a pile of good cards. I'm going to draw a lot of them, and I'm going to trust that to beat you. To pilot what?
2 mana. At the tap of it. White. I'll take a damage.
Okay. Are you talking about
Cast
with like
phantom
a
for
decent CDH knowledge, or are you talking like brand new player?
allows my humans to tap, add 1 mana of any of this creature's colors. And it's a 1/1, and it's green, white, legendary.
Right. So I would say it's
Also
difficult
posting
just
counters
because
on
breach
somewhere?
lines are difficult
Yeah,
for
pay
people with no
4 green
experience
and
with them.
white and tap it to put a counter on, or put a
Breach is
counter on.
very simplistic once you understand
Is
breach.
Noble
Once you know your
Hierarchy in
breach lines, it's second nature.
Noble
But until
Hierarchy
you
is
have that foundational
Okay.
breach knowledge, I think the deck is
So
very difficult
you have
because
4
it's
mana
hard to understand how to
available
win.
on
And I
Shadows
think that
Wolves.
if you are a player that doesn't
I would
understand your
add
breach lines, you're
one
going to
to
lean too
guess
hard
now.
into Thassa's Consult, which is the worst way to play that deck. That's
I
just
have to
something
pass
it
on
can do.
Wave
But I think
or
if
the
you're a player that
Veil
like
or whatever.
has your breach lines down already, then I think Blue Farm is not overly complicated because you're just mulliganing for card advantage.
Yeah, that's kind of the conclusion we all came to as well, was that like at its core, no, Blue Farm's not difficult to pilot, but it is like a hard getting into CDH deck where like
Yeah.
if you're just picking up CDH, probably don't want to start with Blue Farm,
Mhm.
but like once you've kind of played the deck a few times and you really do, again, the breach lines are really the only hard part about that deck. Once you
Yeah.
understand like when and how to use your card advantage and when and how to go for your breach lines, the deck becomes like super simplistic.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of getting there and like accumulating that knowledge over time.
So this has been a conversation lately that's, even like Lamora's cards made a video about. I assume Kennen became a part of this conversation for you guys, right?
Mystic and Chrome.
I don't think we brought up Kinnan.
Do you?
Draw of Chrome. You paying for Mystic?
I cannot pay for it. I only have 2 mana.
I cannot do anything about the Soul Cauldron.
Mhm. Do you think that Kennen is an easy deck to pilot?
I also
Okay.
I don't have a creature.
Okay.
None for me.
Okay. Just wanted to check.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 mana currently available to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll just go to combat.
Mm-hmm.
Swing. Let's go over here. Yeah. I'll swing Ragavan, Nagila, and the 1/1 at Biscuit.
Sure.
take 1, 2, 3,
It'd be
6.
6.
Take 6, and
Yeah.
you get a Wooded Foothills.
Cool.
You don't get a Wooded Foothills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sadly, I know. This is supposed to be.
Oh, definitely. Kennen has simplistic play lines for some of its game plans. I think what people underestimate is the incredible diversity of play lines that Kennen actually has. And so a lot of people feel satisfied as a newer player and say, yeah, I just, made mana spunk Kennen. And if that's the only game plan you're on and the only game plan that you execute, yes, it's a very easy deck to play.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about Kennen that makes it so difficult and why it's a deck that grows with you and really has an awesome ceiling for player skill is because it's the only deck in the format, in my opinion, that can be a turbo deck, a mid-range deck, and a stacks deck all at the same time,
Yeah, I had to Red Elemental Blast.
and really pivot between those strategies confidently. So if
Oh,
you know how to
he's white on
utilize
that
that flexibility and do the right things for the matchup and the
All right,
situation,
sure.
it requires a lot of format knowledge. It requires a lot of timing, but the deck
Uh-huh.
has an incredibly high ceiling that is not easy to play
Yeah,
because it has those
I don't have
diversity of play
priority
lines, which I think is a wider diversity than most decks in the format.
To go to
I
the
actually think
next
it
phase.
has more total decision points than most
Mm.
other decks.
Pass.
If you're not just on the spin it to win it game plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll try
On
to
that note as well, I think that's like a key
Okay,
note
hit 'em.
for
Okay.
Kinnan and something that showed through in the data early, right? Like you can attest to this, Wounded, where
None
like
for me.
Kinnan was not viewed as a good deck for a while.
Yeah.
It took
Mhm.
a while before people really started jumping on that bandwagon. But like the reason why it wasn't great is because people hadn't really put in the time, and there's plenty of times in this format people will pick up a deck and be like,
Sure.
easy to play, doesn't do what I want it to in this meta. I don't care. I'm just going to move on to what's doing the best. But then you
Chrono
have
Trigger.
people like yourself who will stick with a deck and be like, okay, it's not working in this meta. Why isn't it working in this meta? What cards don't feel great? What cards can I switch out? And once you start like
And Ka0s.
making the deck more you, right? Because like between you and Ian and other Kinnan pilots, you guys all have your own little things that you take away from the deck at any given point in time for any given meta. And that's where I think Kinnan's actually hardest, in my
Mr.
opinion,
Marcher.
is knowing how to pilot the deck for you and for the metas you are currently playing in. Because Kinnan is one of those decks where you can, yeah, sure, you can throw in a bunch of good big things that do things you want them to, but it's like, what are the things that I want to hit most consistently? What are the things that are going to do the best for me when I hit them more consistently? And how do I
Yeah,
want
I was
this
about
deck
to
to
say, please
operate
please
in
get your card
this
first.
format versus anything else I'm doing?
Yeah, I
So
mean
it's
that's part of it.
having
I think a
going
lot of it
about
also comes from Kinnan in its
or
current
how's the
iteration
putting cards
and
in
where it
slots.
has become at this
Yeah,
point and the way people build the deck
Two
nowadays
thirds are they
is
going
the
on
most
the
pivotal
deck?
back in the format
Nice.
in terms of switching between those strategies. Like I said, when I first got into Kinnan, it was really separated between you were either doing
It's more
Turbo
that
Assault
I forget
or you were
the
doing heavy
decent amount of
stacks.
real cards in
Yeah.
the list
There
I was
wasn't
taking
this
apart.
middle ground. There wasn't this mid-range
So I'm
combination that could kind of do a
looking
little bit of
for
everything. Now that it
some
has this
lands
mid-range do a little bit of
behind
everything shell,
Yeah, that's fair.
it's
Two.
changed the way the deck plays a lot because they don't know if you're just going to try and slam Assault on turn 2, or they don't know if you're just going to slam a Chimera and a Void Winnower and a Trinsphere and say we
Untap,
can take as long as you guys want.
I'll take the fish.
Yeah, I've been big on Kinnan for a while. I just didn't know why people were treating it like a substandard deck. Like, it's always been good.
I have a lot of opinions on that. Yeah, I think that is also something that I think the community is getting a lot better at that it used to struggle with identity wise, was thinking that if you weren't doing what everyone else was doing,
Put
you were.
Exotic Orchard
And I think
away.
pilots like Wounded or Ian, or even Freedom, have really kind of stepped out of that element and have kind of brought these decks to the
Ka0s,
forefront.
Caston.
Are now making the statement of like, yeah, sure, this isn't Blue Farm, but like, we know what Blue Farm wants to do. We're prepared for what Blue Farm wants to do. Yes, this isn't, Turbo Adnaz, but we're prepared for what Turbo Adnaz wants to do. And that's okay. That's a legitimate playstyle that I think a lot of people don't understand because they want to kind of like narrow what our format is, even though our format, like, as much as it feels like it at times, as much as some people tell you, our format's not solved. There's a lot of space in this format and there's a lot of testing that still needs to be done. Like, whenever people always come to me and they're like, should I cut this card or do this? I'll always speak from experience and be like, yeah, I'm not a fan of that idea, but test it. Let me know how that works out for you because I'm interested. It didn't work out for me, but it might work out for you.
Yeah, and I mean, like, even when you test cards, you still learn things about them later. Like, when I got into Kinnan, I started with a list that was very similar to Tyler from Play to Win's list. And one of the quote unquote innovations I made in my original Kinnan list was I added Glenn under Archmage because I came from casual Muldrotha and I love that card in casual Muldrotha. And as a newer player to the format who didn't have proper threat assessment and didn't know how to handle everything, Glenelender was terrible. It just got me priority bullied. I just countered stupid stuff that I shouldn't have countered, and I had no idea what I was doing. And so I quickly took the card out of the deck, and I was like, "Oh, this is bad." But then after I developed as a player and grew a little bit, I decided to test out Glenelender again, maybe like 3 months later, and suddenly now it's one of my favorite cards in the deck and one of the greatest pieces I've ever added.
How much mana do you have left?
Yeah,
Like-
some cards are definitely skill capped.
Yeah. You don't want to get priority bullied with Glenelender.
I've-
But I mean, it's funny though. But I mean, it's definitely not solved. I mean, like, again, if the format was solved, like every single pod, every top four would just be 2 Kinnans and 2 Blue Farms.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's just not the way the format is. And sure, there's a lot of Blue Farm and a lot of Kinnan. Those decks are obviously naturally a little bit of step above in terms of pure power level, and that's fine. But it doesn't mean that other decks are unviable. Like, everyone just spent the last month saying how shit Talion was, and I said I don't think it is.
It's understandable.
Even with Obnixilis, a lot of people tried Obnixilis and they said, "Oh, the deck's viable. It was able to get some top 16s." And I said, "I think that you are playing it a little wrong, in my opinion." And then I did my thing with it and proved that like you can have success with these different strategies as long as you know how to operate with them within the current meta and like what you're doing. The whole
You're gonna do it now.
I mean, I'm gonna see what I draw first. Oh, damn.
Yep.
Oh,
I mean, it's also
immediate
hilarious though
removal
that if
here.
you click add CDH staples for, you know, mono white,
No,
for
it's
instance,
fine.
it will still add in like Archon of Emeria.
Uh,
It'll add in Heliod Ballista and Archon of Emeria and Null Rod and Stony Silence. Like it just doesn't. It just adds a bunch of cards. Like it's random. It's so bad.
Well, that's because those are staple for mono white.
No, but I'm saying if you're playing a Esper deck, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like if you were to say, oh, I want to build a Tivit deck, and you click add CDH staples for your Tivit commander deck, it will add in Archon and Null Rod and all of these other things into your Tivit deck because it just views them as staples within those colors.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
also adds in Yavimaya Cradle of Growth because it's technically every color land.
As someone who's been who started off as an avid just brewer for this, and like I got my starts on CDH TV, like I feel like I've always felt the card pool has been, people's view of it has been very narrow of what's CDH viable. I mean, there's like what, like a couple 100,000 cards, and you think that only like 5,000, like 2,000 are viable? No, like we have barely tapped the pool.
you see why I'm upset that kid
Yeah,
didn't
that's
do
also a
it.
matter of like
Sticker more
kind of
trigger.
perspective as well.
Yeah,
I've
go
been saying
for
this
it.
for a little bit. There is a difference, and I don't mean either, but there is a difference between playing
Yeah.
Cool.
playing
Into the
CEDH and playing
basalt.
competitive Elder Dragon.
I would like to activate.
There's
Mhm.
a big disconnect, I think, between the people who play this casually and the people who like are actual grinders. And because I used to think a lot of my takes on the format were like that I was always told like, oh, that's not true. Trickbind's bad. This card's bad. You can't play this. But then like started going to tournaments and talking with players, and these players are all like, oh, I've been on Trickbind for a while. That card's gas. Like you go fourth Oracle attempt, you can't respond to me. That's like really, I want that. That's really good for me. That one for works because you lose and I win. But like it's just a disconnect between what people are seeing in their own nice word community. I can't. I'm trying to think of like an actual word, but like their own.
There's like
yeah. Their own play groups are going to be a lot different than what you're seeing at these tournaments. This is something. This is why I actually push a lot of my friends to do tournaments and to participate in them, because I always tell them the most you're going to learn about this format is going to be against a wider meta. Whereas if you're playing against the same people over and over again, yeah, you can practice against good players, but that doesn't always help you in the run with knowing like what the format truly has in store if you're facing the same system.
Yeah, I mean it's something I deal with a lot during coaching when someone doesn't have as much like tournament experience or experience against different metas. Like you'll have some people, I know one guy in Canada, his play group, he's playing against Magda every single game. So his Kinnan deck is loaded with so many stifle effects. You know, he loves his Tashana's Tiebinder. He's on Defabricate. He's on all of these things that are really good for that specific matchup and that he's had success with. And so in his brain, he's like, why would I ever cut these cards? They're so consistently great for me. And I'm like, yeah, they're specifically great in that one matchup that happens to be the only matchup you're facing. But if you want to get ready for a wider meta that you're going to deal with a higher variance of like a variety of things, you need to be prepared for more things. And that's when it becomes a question. I have this conversation a lot where people are like, oh, I love this card. It's done so well for me. And I say that card will have some absolutely nutty high upside moments, but there's also going to be a lot of times when it's completely dead. And optimization is not about having these things that are really good sometimes. It's about having the cards that are the best the most of the time.
Yeah. That's a big thing that I've also told players, especially like friend group stuff, is like, hey, always ask yourself through testing, what felt worse when I had it? What rotted in my hand? What are things that like in most of the time that I'm seeing them aren't giving me aren't doing for me what I need for them to do? And then look at other cards you would rather have had in the majority of those situations, and then play those, test those, like kind of feel a little bit, test with what cards you can, and then come back and be like, okay, well, I want to try this because in a lot of these cases, I saw this card wasn't doing much for me, so let's try this card. So it's like, okay, let's try that card. And then a lot of times that's how people kind of like grow more and understand as they go like, this card, I don't like this card. That's why like I'm not big on Yogg's Will right now. But like
I love
some
Yogg's
people
Will.
see, some people see a lot of
I
success.
love
with it. It's
Yogg's
really
Will.
good.
Oh my god.
But I love it.
But in the decks that like I've played it in, there's been a lot of times where like I'm just not set up for a Yogg's Will, so instead I've run a different card. Or like
it depends on your deck. Depends on
exactly.
a lot. Where
And
like if
it's
I'm playing up Nixilis, Yogswell is often better than Breach because if I
oh,
have 7 cards
100%.
in yard, I just want to cast a bunch of spells. I don't care
Yep.
about the recursion of those spells the same way. But it's
A
also
lot
like
of
the whole
times.
philosophy of how good is this in my hand also depends on what type of deck you're in and how accessible the cards are.
Yep.
If you're in a deck that has the color black, it's way easier to test cards like that because you always have access to them with unconditional tutors. But when
Yeah.
you are in non-black color identities, you then need to focus on how important the accessibility of that card is. Where, you know, I was coaching a guy on Borborygmos and Flibblethip today. And he's not running Food Chain in his list, even though Food Chain works with that commander and wins the game with that commander. But within that strategy of Teamer, Food Chain is pretty much entirely unaccessible, and they're dead cards if you cannot complete the combo.
Did you have anything, J-Dog?
I see. I was gonna say like C9. It just like blew my mind when you said that you asked people like, what cards did you not want to see? And I'm like, that's exactly how I tell people when they're testing. Is it's like it's not about cards you want to see in hand. It's like what card did you add to the deck that when you drew it, you're like, God, I fucking hate this card.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's rough too because like some people will be like, yeah, but like because you either get like I'm sure there a lot of times people will come back and be like, well, I'm just not seeing this card, and it's like, okay, play with it a little bit more. What happens when you see the card? Because that's another like blind spot people have is like, are you seeing the card? Yes. What is it doing for you when you see it? Nothing. Okay, let's look at other things. Or no, I'm literally never seeing this card. When I do, it does nothing for me. Okay, let's look at other things within that parameter that you want. Like, does Mnemonic Betrayal work for you? Yes. Okay, let's keep it. Obviously, that's a card that's doing well for you. It's a card that like is very impactful. But then you gotta ask the flip question: are there times where nobody has cards in hand? There's graveyard exile effects happening, or like depending on the meta, it just doesn't feel that great. Okay, then we'll cut that card. It's just all about like perspective and experience. Point.
I felt the same way. I was like trying out 5-drop Teferi, the human.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and I was like, man, I don't know if this is good. I haven't seen it enough. And then I was like, I made a new rule. I was like, if it's in a hand, I have to keep that hand. Doesn't fucking matter what the hand looks like. The card's in the hand. We're testing this card specifically. So it's like, I don't care what the rest of the hand is. We're just going to see it. We're going to see how good it felt. And I found that by doing it with that card, even in bad cases where like I didn't have enough lands, I was like looking at the Teferi and I was like, okay, if I get to this, I win. And it's like so many times like I've started doing that with testing where it's like if I have the card I'm testing in hand, don't mulligan past that if it's not if there's no stakes on the game, you know? Like
Yeah. No, that was exactly what I did with Trinisphere when I first added it. And it was so funny because I kept some hands that were like turn 2 Trinisphere going second or something. When like otherwise I think I wouldn't keep those hands now, but it taught me about the card a lot. Because even in games where someone would ramp out a ton of mana on turn 1, and I would think, okay, this is obviously wrong to play here, but I'm just gonna play it to try the card. And the card was so impressive, even in the scenarios that I thought it would be bad, that I was like, all right, this is busted.
yeah, it's great because even when it's bad, it's like it lets you see like the worst parts of it, which is great because you want to see that in testing. And then like it's great so much more than you thought that it's like, oh no, I was crazy. Like Trickbind, I started like testing it out. I'm like, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I'm not quite sure. Let me just try keeping like hands with just Trickbind, and we'll see. And I was like, oh no, this just kills people. I forgot. Like people will just jam at Thesses. This is a murderer. What is it? What was it? Pantheon. People were making fun of Wiley because he got trick binded twice in 2 days, I think, by me on his kin. Yeah, Trinisphere. Trinisphere is a nightmare, right?
I love Trinisphere.
I love Trinisphere. I
it's the
tried it
best
out,
card.
but like, I was like, man, maybe I just lack brain cells for this card right now because I don't know when to play it and where to play it. I'm like, I'll come back to this. This is like, I have like a list of cards that I'm like, cards that I will play when I'm a smarter player. And that's definitely on there. That and Chains. Oh, I love Chains of Mephistopheles. But
Chains is a card I'm surprised some decks, well, again, not surprised, One Ring popular, but like is one where I feel like should perform really good right now, but I think people are scared to run it because it's on their draw advantage engine effect. So it like kind of negates what you want to do if you're on a simulator deck. But it's that's definitely a card I always look. That too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a super simple card. Like, yeah.
Sorry,
I've
I
often
went
been
away for a
thinking.
second. You talk about Chains of Mephistopheles?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally flow charts for it. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Do you have cards in hand? Discard first. Do you not have cards in hand? Just mill cards.
Mill.
Yeah.
It's
Simple.
not hard.
Super simple.
It's like so simple, but they worded it so bad. It's like Lich.
I will ask a question actually. If someone has a Chains of Mephistopheles out and I have cards in hand and someone casts Divination, they have to draw, I have to draw 2 cards. Do I discard 1, draw 1, discard 1, draw 1, or do I discard 2, then draw 2?
Discard 1, draw 1, discard 1, draw 1.
Cool. Just checking.
It's each individual draw. This is how what is it? Gitrog can make an uninteractable loop with it. It's so nasty because it's a replacement effect. It affects each draw individually.
Yep.
But
yeah, so that's why the coolest thing about Gitrog to me is that they can get around Chains of Mephistopheles and get additional cards in hand because of Dredge.
Yep.
Because it's a different replacement effect, so they can still go up cards in hand. It's the coolest thing.
They just go, Dredge.
Yes. Your opponents will probably also slow play. Yeah.
Hey Max, what size jersey?
One second, I'm responding to someone. Let's go with for jersey, I'll go large. Normally I'm a medium, but for jersey, I'll go large.
Large? Okay.
Am I also what? Oh, dude, it's actually very funny because when people met me at the first in-person event I went to, like, what was it? It was SCG Con Columbus, and they were like, "Oh, you're shorter than I thought you'd be," and that was what people said about me. No, but the funny thing, well, no, I'm fortunate that like I'm jacked. I'm very in shape, so like I'm good, bro. But but then when I went to my second event, because everyone had heard like, oh, Wooded's really short. When they met me, they were like, oh, you're taller than I thought you'd be.
Yeah.
I always get
height.
I always get
very
the opposite effect. A lot of times, like my voice does not match what I look like at all, and so people are always like, "I did not think you would look like," because I'm like 6'3", like I'm pretty in shape, but it's always funny because people for some reason think that I'm going to be super short, and then I'm not, and they're like, "Oh, you're really tall," and I'm like, "Why did you think I would be short?"
I'm trying to get super jacked. I'm working on it. It's a daily thing. Bitcats. Yeah. Make sure to buy those tank tops, boys. And hoodies.
What'd you say? What's the Fit Cats channel?
Look under Exotic Orchard would be general. It's under content.
You want me to send shirtless pics? Nah.
No, that's shirtless.
No. Save those for my DMs. Save those for my DMs.
I thought that was for your Patreon tier. Stern, I thought that's a Patreon tier for you.
This game's starting off interesting. We have is this a pitching soul cauldron for a
gemstone
for a
That's
gemstone cavern?
That's fine. Soul Cauldron's not like a necessity. It's just it's a thing that's extra.
Backup.
Yeah, it's like an enabler, but I'm interested what's in their hand then.
Probably mana.
So the idea is so they don't care about the exile, they care about the activated abilities can be any color part of it.
Yeah.
So it makes it so like infinite colorless can win. It makes it so your guy's cradle can just activate Sisay.
Yep.
Makes it super easy.
It streamlines a lot of your combos, so you don't have to like make them super convoluted. You just eventually fetch that and then win.
Yeah.
Because mana.
And it's a hate piece.
And that too, it is also a hate. They don't care about comboing with the card. It is an on like, oh, you're trying to win. You forgot I had Soul Cauldron. Exile.
Bye.
No. I don't.
You
I
have
don't run
access
it.
to all their colors always.
I think simpler Kinins are running it, as in people that are just trying out the deck. I think it's a little bit of a trap. I know Satellite's not on it.
I mean, the easiest way to think about it is right. So here's the idea. If you are a proactive leaning show and you just want a turbo basalt, then you want more outlets. That makes sense. That's fine. Have more outlets, make that easier. That's cool. Realistically speaking, though, none of the outlets, whether it's Cauldron, Mirage Mirror, Thrasios, Treasure Vault, none of them are good cards, besides maybe Thrasios, that we would ever be playing on generic card value alone if they weren't functioning as outlets. I don't care about the Graveyard Hate of Cauldron. I don't care about the occasional upside. Mirage Mirror can do some cool stuff, whatever. Like Treasure Vault's bad. Thrasios is really just not that great most of the time. Like you don't care about their generic value at all. Their job in that deck is to be an outlet. They are a necessary evil within the strategy that are most often I view as dead cards within the hand. So when you are running these dead cards and you want to optimize Kinnin, which again, my deck is not predicated on only winning with Basalt. That's just one of the things it does. But when you're looking at outlets and you have these cards that you view as dead cards, you want to run as few of them as possible to make your strategy function. So I'm on Thrasios because it's in the creature base. I'm on Treasure Vault because it's easy in the land base. And then I choose to run one non-land, non-Thrasios outlet. And my choice for that is Mirage Mirror. And when you're looking at which outlet you want to use, you have to look at two primary factors. One, generic in-game value. Which one does do the most for you consistently? And I find that Mirage Mirror consistently does the most for me if I have to have one of those cards randomly appear in my hand. But even more importantly than their in-game value is accessibility, because they are the final piece of the combo. They're the last piece of the puzzle, the last thing you need, so you want them to be accessible. If you look at Mirage Mirror, it gets got by every single artifact tutor except for Moonsilver Key. If you look at something like Energy Refractor, even, it gets got by everything except for Trophy Mage. If you look at Agatha's Soul Cauldron, you can't get it with Moonsilver Key. You can't get it with Trophy Mage. Less total things give you access to it, so it's less accessible. And that's why I hate when I see people running Walking Ballista nowadays, because literally the only thing that can get Walking Ballista is just Fabricate to hand. Every single other artifact tutor is into play, or a Trophy Mage that puts it into your hand, but it can't get Ballista anyway. You don't want to run non-accessible outlets because they're not something you want until the end.
Is this Ristic too?
No, it's Najila.
Gila, there we go. Yeah, I was gonna say also you get no benefit from the +1. You don't run a lot of things that have +1 counters anyways. So like you're already missing half of that. And it's like with Sisei, they actually like it gets -1/-1 counters.
Yeah, no, my point is you can take away the -1/-1.
Yeah, you can, but then it's like it kind of nullifies what you want to do with Agatha's anyways. It's like Agatha's like in Sisei makes sense because they do want to pump their Sisei too. It like has three purposes in the deck. It's like it's super good,
No,
but like in Kinnin, it's like one thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, but
then like when someone kills the cauldron, it's gone.
Yeah, then it's like gone. I mean, what's nice about like I don't care if my Thrasios go to the graveyard. If I go infinite, I can just get back Thrasios. Who cares?
Mm-hmm. That's the cool thing about Kinnin. It's like it's a loop, it's a circle. Everything will go back to what it was. It is a flat spiral.
And I figured out a cracked combo that if I crack an emergent zone, or even without an emergent zone, I can still do this. But if I want to do an instant speed, I got to crack an emergent zone. I can infinitely loop my graveyard by just making a Hullbreaker Horror and a clone of Hullbreaker Horror, and then I can get a card back to hand by channeling Colossal Sky Turtle, and then play Invasion of Ikoria to get back Sky Turtle to the battlefield, and then play the card, get back both Sky Turtle and the Invasion with the Hullbreaker Horror triggers. So I can loop every card in my graveyard infinitely.
And then when you get to the point where you need like you're afraid you're going to bounce extra things, you just bounce back the clone of Hullbreaker.
Yeah. Well, no,
it's
I mean,
like,
so Hullbreaker is an up to 1. You don't have to bounce with Hullbreaker.
Oh, it's up to it's that's right.
Yeah,
That's what makes it better than Tide. Benefits in
more ways. Hullbreaker is just infinitely better than Tide's Bout. It's crazy.
It's not over.
All right, so Big Bad, the only one without a draw effect on cast. We've got Remora, Fish. That is the one thing I wish Rakdos needs. Rakdos needs a better fish. I don't know if you guys seen the Ristic study for Rakdos. For like mono black.
It's called Obnixilis.
No, actually, they made something new. I tested it out.
What is it?
That's a real magic card?
Cutting Rhetoric.
Oh, okay.
Cunning.
Oh my god.
I haven't seen this card in a while. What does it do again?
Yeah.
Is that when something attacks you?
Or Planeswalker.
2.
Oh, who cares? No one attacks in CDH. People forget the combat step exists.
I think that's like the difference. What's the difference between win percentages on CDH? Who actually knows how to attack a player?
Yeah.
Like, are you willing to attack every turn? Yes. Okay, you probably have a higher win percentage.
Me running 4 creatures, most of which aren't creatures in my deck. Yay to parry.
Me running polymorph.
Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nigilla,
Oh,
Death
yeah.
Right.
Dude, what is with all of these Sisei decks running Nagila lately? I don't like. I get it, but I don't. I don't know.
I will take 3.
Why win with
Wow,
extra
this is fucking
steps?
terrible.
Let's go.
No.
Well-
You got to ask yourself, what's with all these Cody decks running Nagilla?
5.
Ooh.
Okay, what? Wait, I'm sorry. What? Cody's running Nagila?
Yeah.
Who? What? Point out the Cody pilot, and I will point left.
Yeah,
Why
please,
are they playing
please.
Nagila?
Well, I guess I get it. Like Cody makes Wooburg, so if you Oh wait, do they do it with like do they use it the same as Giganta where they play like Samet and then
Yeah.
they can go to combat and okay that
They run Derevi, they run Cody, and they run Nagillas.
Yeah, but
Nope.
No, the Wooburg is on anything.
yeah, it
It's
just cares
if
about
you,
when you
if
cast
you
the
cast
spell.
an instant or sorcery, yeah.
Yeah.
It makes yeah.
Or you can
With-
even play Creature Tutor and then
Drawing fish.
You know, I mean, like, why not take a deck that sometimes works but is already bad and just make it worse? That's
Right?
that's
You know
what
what?
I'm thinking.
Yeah, basically same. And don't get me wrong, I actually I like Cody just because it does the thing it does well. Yeah, it's pretty easily stoppable, but like it sticks to its lane. I'm always a little iffy about decks like trying to cram in a bunch of stuff, hopes to like slow themselves down to match what's happening. But like I've watched Cody's like run through tables, like because a lot of people are greedy with their multis. They just don't keep interaction ever.
I mean, yeah, that was my
But,
entire philosophy the last month when I was playing Ob and Rogside. I was like, huh,
Yeah.
everyone's tapping out for stupid value engines. I would like
Yep.
to just win.
what is it? It's also Neoform's very interesting in Cody. I don't know what they get. Like
I would just leave it alone.
they can get a 4-drop.
Yeah, what does that get? Who cares?
Well,
Right?
no, it's a sack.
Yeah,
that's all you
it's so
care
they get
about.
rid of you get rid
Yeah,
of the
so you
Cody.
get rid of
And none of us have blockers.
You are.
Let's fucking go.
Gets 2 versus Sabretooth, baby.
We better keep it kind of even. Go ahead.
Okay.
Nah, I think Cody decks are interesting. I think they're in a good spot with the new the stuff that came out of Lord of the Rings. I feel like a lot of the old CDH like decks that were kind of like felt too fragile got a big boost in Lord of the Rings set. I don't know about like Ixalan. Ixalan felt kind of mid, but it was a standard set, you know?
That kind of sucks, though.
That was a cool deck to come out of there. I admit that.
Yes, I am.
But not I don't know if it's like a great deck to come out of there.
All right. Well, if you're tapped out, I'll let it go.
Yeah.
I'm passing the turn.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
Pantla's a top 16 top deck expert. What was it? At the Boyle.
That's awesome.
Man.
Yeah, Pantla's is
It-
gas.
Yeah. Dude, it was a wild fucking top 16. It was a wild tournament. I was sitting at the last table next to freaking Thraben EU and Bosch and Roll. Like X3 no wins. Like, hey guys.
Wait,
Fuck.
were you at the Boyle?
Yeah, I was, man. I was there. I watched you win.
Oh shit, I'm sorry. Right?
I was hanging out with Jacoby and them. I came with them. LJ was ribbon. You know it.
Jacoby's a great guy. I really appreciate it.
I was so hyped for him when he made top 16, man.
Yep.
Our round 5 game was
Did
great.
you spend a treasure already?
No,
I
Oh,
wanted
man.
to go so badly, but it just
Oh,
sold out
okay.
before because I was like waiting for like I could have bought a ticket and gone, but I was
Okay,
like
the
I'm gonna
Boyle-
wait, get paid again, and by the time I got paid again, I was
The
fucking
Boyle had
sold out.
tickets available for months, bro. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Well,
It
so like
was- it didn't sell out until Punt City.
Yeah, so- yeah, it
21.
did.
And then it felt like everybody who didn't make Punt City was like, shit. Oh, the Boyle, that's a platinum event. Click. Sold out the same day, even though the Boyle had been up for like months.
My issue is I was in between jobs at the time, so it was like had
Not a
just
smart
started
decision.
working. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I can put this on my credit card. I want to be sure that like I can for sure afford, because like for me, I live in like Southern Indiana. I'm not like that's a drive for me, and then hotel
I got nothing.
a bunch
Go
of
ahead.
money, so like I needed to make sure that I
Ching,
could
ching.
afford it. And by the time I knew I could, it was like, oh, okay,
We just
so
need a
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you just need to reach
Yeah.
out to us. Like, you need to reach out to guys like me, Wounded, Hurt, like people that are going to these events. Because guess what? We always do like to make our costs to go there cheaper with roommates.
Yeah.
We were in a house of 11 guys.
Oh
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah. It's
The
like
real
one of those
trick,
things.
the real trick with going to these events, it's a two-step process. One, you get sponsored, so your entry's free, and then two, you win money every time you go, so it doesn't
And this
cost you
limp
anything.
biscuit literally just tries to find a lamp.
Damn. You know
See,
what?
I'm getting two of those.
No. Is he still?
You
Yeah,
gotta
let's say if
believe.
you suck
You gotta
ass.
grind harder. No.
Oh, I
Well,
was
if
talking
you-
on Hertz end.
Okay, yeah. If you suck ass, I would recommend going to the doctor for pink eye. But
Let's go, baby.
Looks like Najila got in for some hits. We got J-Dog crewing some treasures now. We got a that looks like, I think that's a vampiric tutor on the stack, and Lightning tutor goes the opposite direction with the guy. So
That's why I was debating whether or not the
We're-
drone should stick. Yeah.
because J-Dog
she's
is
really
a
good at
Swiss
it.
Army knife of a man.
he's really good at Blue Farm.
So Corey has the force, so we'll get it.
I'll tell you the
I would
funniest thing I love about
imagine-
J-Dog is he asked me like multiple tournaments in a row where he finally gets to play what he should play. And the first time he was like, it was right after I won Mox. He was like, "Oh, I want to play your deck." So he literally had me spend like hours and hours going over the deck. And he was like, "Yeah," and he's been grinding it for a month. Plays Rog Silas. XOX drop.
That sounds like it.
Next tournament, he asks everybody, I'm like, dude, you've gotten really good with Blue Farm. You should play Blue Farm. You've been grinding it. I think he's a really great Blue Farm player. I think it's easy for him to top 16 with Blue Farm. You know what he plays?
Darker Thras.
Rolling Silas. OX drop.
I would suggest you use
Hey, Roxai's a good
to see
deck.
if I can
Roxai-
draw
It-
an action for this.
That is the only.
Yeah,
the
Zane,
thing is,
Zane is a
Zane
really good
excited him.
pilot.
No, yeah.
Zane is a fucking cracked pilot. I got to see him play at TCG Con like a weekend ago. Zane's a fucking cracked god at Blue Farm. That tournament was ass, but Zane was a god at it. But J-Dog is hated by his decks.
Fine. I'll lose a life on the force.
Is the nicest way I can put it. So if you're hated by your deck and you're playing like Rog Silas, like Wounded, like what's the worst odds you can get in a Rog Silas? Like 10 cards?
Oh, dude, I whiffed twice in a row from 40 when I was testing Rogsai, and I was like, "What is this?"
And I've seen J-Dog do worse. And it's just like, J-Dog, your decks hate you because you don't commit to them. So playing a deck that heavily relies on variance sometimes? Why?
Okay, Rogsai actually does not rely on variance. Like Rogsai,
It doesn't. It is, but it does
my
sometimes.
back-to-back whiffs from 40 were just unusual, and there were abnormalities in the deck.
Yeah, I said sometimes it relies on variance. Like every deck.
I mean, I know I missed.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I mean, that's a good thing. You just have to mulligan for mana plus payoff. That's it. Mana and payoff.
And J-Dog's kind of a cautious guy who doesn't like to mulligan too low.
That's not the way to play it. Yeah,
It's never going to work for him on Rogsai. He hates going below 5, and I'm like, I've seen Rogsai players go to 2 and win. Like they go for the win. Like they don't. It doesn't have to look pretty. It just has to win.
Yeah, you just have to get there, because if not, you're just like, pass, pass.
Like your commanders aren't going to help you draw cards. Like it's not how they work. So.
So it'd be 6
Yeah.
if I don't.
Yeah, play Timna Crom. Like that's really good. You don't have to mull below 5 if you don't want to in Blue Farm. You can keep mediocre hands and just draw out of it. And I think that's the strength of Blue Farm is you can keep okay hands in Blue Farm.
it comes down to this, I think you need to.
Yeah.
Actually, true. I've said this for.
Sadly,
I hate looking at decks. I like looking at
Yeah, I
pilots because decks don't tell me everything I want to
so
know.
you
Pilots
okay?
do. Like if I see 60 Kroms, like Timna Kroms in a tournament, but like 3 of them
See, but with
are like
5
making
is
top
with
16, or
5
2 of
if
them
you
are
can
making top
blink it, it's over
16, like,
anyways, right?
and these other ones aren't doing well. It's like, what are you doing wrong that these other players aren't? Because you should also be doing. I mean, it's also like
That's assuming he
a bit
has
subjective because obviously each game is different, and like
Okay, so if I
depending on things that
if I
happen
don't
in the
crack the
game, things
Lotus
change.
right
But
now, that's too late.
it's really telling when, like, again, when Kinnan used to have, like, everyone said Kinnan was bad because it had a 19% conversion rate, but like Kinnan wasn't
It was-
bad. You just had
Oh
a
no,
lot of bad
it was
pilots.
12. It was 12.
Yeah, 12%, and it's
When
like
I when
Kinnan
I
was
got
never
into
bad.
Kinnan, when I got into Kinnan, its conversion rate was like 11%, and it was ranked as like number 11 on EDH top 16. I was like, oh.
I don't know.
Let's see what Malcolm Ka0s is rated, because I think I'm like the only like. There's only 2 pilots, and it's me and another guy, and we top. Like if I don't top, he tops. So like it's very biased. But like here's the
Me and
thing,
you
Blue
and
Farm, like yeah, yeah, Ian's like doesn't count because Ian tops. It's like written into his contract with God. If like you look at like 16 Blue Farms and only 2 of them top, and one of them's Bosch and Roll, like a Hall of Fame player, like a god at the actual game of Magic.
Okay, so Malcolm Ka0s has 6 top 16s out of 40 entries.
There we go. That sounds about right.
Conversion rate of 15%.
Yeah, but you still have your
Woo! Kinnan numbers.
No. Kinnan's gone down a little bit. I got Kinnan. I helped get Kinnan up to finally being. It was at like 23% a couple months
Yeah.
ago. Now it's back down to below 20. I haven't been
It's
playing
because so many
Kinnan.
people are playing it now. You
Well,
got
dude,
so many
it's-
people playing it
it's
again, and now they're ruining your win rate.
disappointing. Dude, it's so disappointing. Like my first, what was it? I think it was the Mox Masters January, my first ever tournament not on Kinnan when I played Ob Nixilis. I went and looked at the meta afterwards, and there were 13 Kinnans and none of them topped. I was like,
Yep.
what is this, dude? How
I
have you
see
done
this happen so often.
Yeah, that's
Yep. 2 from me, 3 from him.
Yeah, it was like 3 entries and 2 of them were top 4. It was no, I went back. Me and Max, one of the videos we were considering, or like a segment of a video we were considering for Colors or Crutch, was like the development of the meta throughout the year, where I only existed for half of the year. But my second term ever, my first top 4 Chaos Treasure Series 3, I was the only Kinnan in the field, which is wild to think about.
Minute combat.
Wow.
Yeah, that is the downside to some of those decks becoming more popular. Is just people will try them as a new thing. They'll play it once or twice in a tournament, like it, and then the win percentage conversion rate of that deck looks really bad. Even though in contrast, it's like not, especially if like pilots aren't showing up consistently with that deck, and it's just it's just switching hands each time.
For fish.
I mean,
I
I'm
think
a
the
big
worst
fan
part
of
is-
those people getting into Kinnan because they're signing up for coaching, and I appreciate that.
That's the
Well,
money.
that too. If anybody needs coaching, hit my boy up.
Yeah,
Yep.
feel
You want to
free.
learn how
If
to
you
get
want
in.
to. Yeah,
I
well, hey,
think the
I've got
worst
it's got a
part-
great track record of people having success after it, so I've been enjoying it.
I think the worst part is people will just take the tournament into the deck into a tournament. Like they'll like proxy it up that week, take it into a tournament, and be like, "This deck sucks ass." It's like, goddamn. Sorry, J Dog, you can't hear this, but maybe that's a kindness.
All right, let's do a quick game summary here, though. J Dog looks like it might be his turn or just passing.
No,
his
it's
turn.
it's
He's got
this.
a
It's
Ristic Study.
TCM's turn.
It's TCM's okay. Okay. Well, J Dog in first seat. He's got a Ristic. He's got a Smothering Tide. He's got a Dranith locking down the board. You got Big B in second seat, rocking the Najila game plan with no access to Sisay at this time because of the Dranith. In third seat, you got TCM also on Sisay. Sisay looks to be not on the battlefield, but they're just rocking a lot of value as well with their own Ristic Study and a good mana
Just resolve the
production.
dockside.
Just resolve a dockside, bunch of treasures on the board. And then fourth seat, you got Tivit rocking a Mystic Remora and a little bit of mana.
Yeah, I think that again, the player's game it is to lose is going to be J Dog's 8 cards in hand, a Smothering Tithe in play, ton of mana. Like, you're set
D-tutor.
up.
Yeah, J Dog's winning this. It's like almost
Yeah, no,
impossible.
this
A silence
game
got
is
countered
over.
early at this turn by not J Dog. Someone else countered it. So good job, J Dog, just bullying people. He had to exile the Sisay's dockside, so that's not recurable now. and he's literally paying for their heuristics and remoras.
Yep, go for it.
Yeah, that's what
It's resolving now.
Mhm.
Yep.
Searching through. Obviously, don't counter the tutor because you could probably counter what comes off of it.
4 treasures in play.
I mean, what creature can they get? There's no clones don't work here. Their Sisei's cut off. Like, this is bad. Because they had a dockside.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted to silence play the dockside and have the dockside resolve and then detutor with the dockside on the field. Which that's pretty solid. Yeah.
This almost has to be an answer here with J-Dog position the way they are. You can like try and this doesn't feel like you can set up tutor, right? Like your passing turn, it gets to J-Dog's turn. They already have 8 cards in hand. Do you want to give them any more cards and then hope that they
Windfall?
just don't have it on their turn? You could, but
Gives them all the mana. Touch the Spirit Worm.
Well, they would also have to, if they don't want to J-Dog and want it to resolve, they're going to have to crack all their treasures for a windfall. And I don't know.
Praetor's Grasp would be interesting. Where is TCM's hand in this?
I believe it's
the thing that they have a face down on heuristic, right? Like,
no, it's I believe what they just touched. Oh, do they not have a hand?
Do they not have a hand? They're empty-handed. I think they were empty-handed. Okay.
Or is that their hand underneath the silence?
Nope, that's their grave. Yeah, they were empty-handed. Okay. Because I was wondering, because I saw them put the card there on top of it, and then I was like, but they're still searching, so that's a weird. Did they not have a hand? Oh my god, they are just screwed.
Well, it doesn't seem like they're shuffling the cards off to the side that are face down. I'm assuming that's their.
Yeah, TCM needs to do what I recommend other people do. Put a dice on your hand when you pick up your deck.
Yeah, it helps a lot.
Don't shuffle your deck back into your hand. Your hand back into your deck.
Especially from a caster perspective.
Oh yeah, I told. I'm trying to standardize this, but people just need to label their zones. Like label your deck, label your hand, label your grave, label your exile, and then that way, like if a judge comes over or if players are looking, they know exactly what's going on. It makes it easier for you to know what's going on because you go like, okay, where's this? What's this? Where is it at? Like labeling helps. There's a reason why
LED giving J-Dog a draw.
Yeah.
And another treasure off the Mystic draw.
Alright.
Yes, that is a gemstone cavern. Yep, because they pitched
LED passed.
Agatha's. LED pass.
Do you know, is this a Clam Chowder style Sisei deck that has breach and such?
I believe Biscuit is.
Okay.
Smothering Touch trigger.
I'm not a big fan of Clam Chowder. I know it didn't top deck against. It didn't top against you.
I mean, it did make top 16.
It made top 16. Did it make top 4 though?
No, but I mean, top 16 and a 222%.
I know,
good, bro.
I know. I'm not hard nogging it. I'm just joking because it was the one in top 16 that didn't make the top 4.
I mean, there was a Malcolm also playing regular Sisei, made top 16 and didn't make top 4 there.
Is this Odawara as a land?
Biscuit just has.
Oh, that always feels bad for me.
Pain, man, pain.
Oh, I know. Lands always feels bad to me.
Right.
Wooberg on Tivit. By the way, guys, I don't know if you commented on it. I love Wooberg's solution to the hand cam.
Yeah, the mirror. Yeah. I know some people.
That is super good.
I know some people also have a secondary camera that like shows them off to the side, so you can still see that they like if they pull cards away from that screen, you still see the cards. Like,
I have that on my recording. Am I recording now? I have it so that people don't see I have a hand cam that shows my field at all times. So that way, if for some reason I disconnect, I can just show the judge that nothing has moved.
Yeah.
and my cards are the same cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Max P does the strategy where he has a second camera that shows in the, like one of the corners of his spell table link that like shows him, so he's able to pull his cards to his chest, but they're still fully on camera and visible at all times.
Yep. That's something I want to start doing because it's very like I have massive hands, and so like I hate like shuffling the table. Like I love shuffling closer to myself, but I've just always been that way. Of course, like you can't ever see it because like I'm always looking for shuffling, and on cam you can't see that. So if I get another camera, it's gonna be a lot better, so people can actually see that like, oh hey, he's like not even paying attention to what he's doing, which is nice for my opponents.
So that's if you
Go ahead.
if you look at all my shuffling, usually like the bottom third of my cards when I'm shuffling is off of camera, and that's because I am leaned forward because I shuffle against my chest.
That's
All
a
of my sweatshirts
discarded
are
muddle the mixture.
like fucked up in the middle from shuffling.
I'm surprised you actually didn't.
Yeah, this is Wounded Satellite. How's it going, man? Appreciate you. It's the
Wounded
J-Dog
Satellite,
untapping
no
here.
more. Champion Satellite now.
True.
Healed Satellite.
Yeah,
Healed
J-Dog
Satellite.
untapping here.
I literally
Terrifying.
jumped out of my chair when you won.
I'm wondering what J-Dog's wanting to do here with what 10 cards. Okay, yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna answer it? Looks like we might not.
GG's.
I saw 2 OKs. I saw 3 OKs. Resolves.
GG's.
Offer a deal
Sacking
where
it?
if he doesn't go for it, it'll resolve.
He's sacking it.
J-Dog definitely not saying I'm not going for a win.
Sheesh. I don't know if this is even gonna help.
Yeah, J-Dog's going for it here.
Yeah. He can. Like, what are they gonna do? You got a Sisse player. Like, what are they gonna do? Like Ottawara, like
Okay, so when he
Well, no,
sacked
he
the
just played the Ottawara, yeah.
Yeah.
No, we saw the Tivid player play it.
what do we
Biscuit only
what do we
has.
react to
They have
here?
4
I don't think
treasures.
there's
If they want to
anything
sack
to
all
react
4 to channel, they could. I don't know what
No.
Siste lists are currently on.
They're on Ottawara. They're all on Ottawara. Like, they're all on the Ottawara and the Greenland Beseju.
Beseju.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If I don't play it, I don't see it enough.
I think this is worrisome though for the table. Like this
Oh,
is
no,
this does have to
they're
be
dead.
Ottawara Beseju. Like you,
No, they're
have
dead.
to have.
This is game.
Yeah.
This is 100% game. Yeah,
Like-
there's no doubt.
Like, I don't think Ottawara even matters here because, like, oh, I'm gonna Ottawara. I'm going for Thoracle.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't even matter with like Breach either because they just have the mana to recast. Or should.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know.
Yeah.
If we can. Maybe.
Well,
Like
TCM Biscuit
Beseju.
should theoretically have Beseju. That's it.
yeah.
That's in the
But
Which,
I
like-
don't think this is a breach line. There's not enough cards in graveyard, and I don't.
You never know what they have in hand. He's got a ton of
If
cards
they
in
have
hand.
brain freeze,
Oh, that's
they
right.
can easily
Yeah.
just
It does.
go for it.
Well, yeah, I already cast it. I cast it.
But J-Dog's like normally
Missed it.
like lock in for the most like
Okay,
clean
Orcish
way.
Bowmaster in response to the Ranger Captain sack, I guess.
That tracks.
How many cards you got in hand, Dog?
Yeah, that does a lot right now.
Let's see. That's on top of it, isn't it?
This is my search if we get to that point.
No, go ahead and draw.
Okay.
Do we know what they are currently talking about, Hurt, or?
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say I know J-Dog tutored. I don't know if he.
Okay. One,
Well, yeah, which is fine.
Go one.
Give us
Oh,
the lowdown.
Fine, either
Pick-
one.
Somebody just pick one so we can
two,
actually...
two. Go with two. Go two.
Okay.
Okay.
Draw that.
So the
I
ETB.
passed on the cast of the Ducks or Orcish
Oh,
Bowmasters.
Masters.
Oh,
Okay,
Master.
so
I'm
let's see,
assuming
do
you're
I-
hitting me.
yeah. Do I get two then? Because it's
No,
on
you.
your... No, I
No,
was under
because
your
that was
draw.
on the
Yeah.
that was the
Yeah.
cast. Yeah.
That's fine.
Alright,
Yeah.
what's everybody
one
looking
to your
at?
face, Dog.
J-Dog's getting a hand
Okay.
count. Yeah, J-Dog's
may
just
I get
fucking
my
making sure this is locked in.
This is
This is discipline.
Actually, is Ranger Captain Craig okay? Since I did that in
We get a
response
hand
to the
count.
search.
Correct.
mana count, track of
Okay.
spells.
I will find the answer for someone. Again.
Yeah.
So I literally have to do that in that order, or
It's
just in
fine.
case I draw the stupid
Yeah.
answer.
Okay.
It's fine.
That makes sense.
So that's that. I missed a smelling tester, which I don't care
Poor
about.
TCM. So close.
Okay.
That's why you got to play for seeding.
And now you're all under Ranger Captain.
Right.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm curious if
Okay, so
what they detutored for was just the
do I
LED to set up
just
for their next turn.
No, they
original
probably
plan's
searched
out
for
the
a breach.
window. I'll say that much.
It's
Yeah, I was
so
gonna be
risky
fine
not
with it,
knowing that you're gonna
but here we
untap
are.
that. J-Dog had so
1,
much
2, 3.
advantage.
Go on.
Either that or they searched for like removal for the field, like a deluge.
So there we go. This in hand.
I don't think,
They
I
had
don't
the
think
mana.
Orchness to say
I'd like
that
to
rock
pitch them as
deluge.
big out. Or...
Yeah.
Yep.
I would like to play.
That's what
this
I would
Moral
search
Breach.
for. Oh, I guess this is a breach line.
Yep.
You may draw.
Interesting.
Oh my gosh.
So we have to hope we have Besagia.
This is the.
You have a bonus
J
or
Dog,
trigger?
you want to use oh, like you want to
do
use
have
your
a bonus
Sibian?
Oh,
right now?
okay.
J-Dog in the
Yeah,
face.
yeah.
I
J-Dog,
don't think
just go to your
Biscuit
face.
got Beseiju.
I figured. I'm at
I think
24.
I think
As long
every
as
villain has
as long
every
as you're
villain
doing
Well, they might
activity,
be
it'll
just
just go to
waiting.
your
Does,
face.
so, yeah. Well, he's got to
That
put something
sounds
else
fine
on the
to me.
stack before you charge.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Eh,
I mean, right now you've got
Pretty skip.
Ristics and Mystics triggering.
Oh, yeah,
I do not have a response.
There's a Bowmaster out, so it's kind of
I'll
viable
exile
to
one
just
slip
get.
teeth. This
Oh,
Cabal.
actually,
they-
that does
did
trigger
not do the
fish,
draws?
though.
Go ahead and draw.
Oh, draw. Thank you.
Smelling tester on your draw.
Go ahead, make one.
Oh, they're
I
discussing
recommend you stop
what the
drawing.
breach is.
Yes, please.
Yeah, yeah, that might actually make the
He
game.
drew his card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to path to exile the Orcish
Path
Bowmaster.
to exile targeting Bowmaster.
Trigger.
Brain freeze
Boop.
in hand. Determined. Okay.
I will pay for your
Wheel of Fortune in
biscuit.
hand.
I won't pay for TC.
No,
or
no,
Are you
that's
talking
a
about the
path
path?
to
You won't
exile.
pay for the
That's a path to
fish, huh?
exile.
Yeah, I won't pay for fish.
Do I make him make?
No, that's
Oh,
a light
mana?
tutor.
Inline tutor,
Line
yeah.
tutor.
No, don't draw.
If
You're
he
just
had
playing
Wheel of
nonsense.
Fortune in his
It's gonna
hand,
take
I
longer,
know.
maybe just
this would make sense too.
Okay. The Orcish
he
Bullmaster
has
does
Smothering
trigger off
Tithe.
of your draw, though, right?
I did not draw.
Yeah, alright.
And
Wheel
I
is
paid for
loose,
biscuit.
but it's pretty
Oh, you
strong
paid
with an
for
Underworld
biscuit.
Breach and a
That's
Smothering
why I'm
Tithe.
literally letting you
I
draw.
mean, especially as well if
Right.
you're, you've already cracked Ranger.
Okay,
You don't really care about giving him cards.
Yeah. There's
Yeah, I'm not
literally
gonna
only
draw.
one card you care about here.
But
If they
I
hit
do
a
care
path
about the
Besagia.
Bowmaster.
No, of course. That's why they're pathing.
Exile.
Yeah, it's like,
It
just
is
imagine
adding-
J Dog being like,
2,
of course they
I
had the
hit you
fucking
guys 4 times.
Bowmaster.
You hit me twice in that cycle.
Okay, so that was 3.
Alright.
Okay, and then I get a what?
You get a
God
bonus
damn it.
on basic.
Well, path it. I'm not happy
Advance,
about paying
foiled.
retail, but
Crazy.
Comes in backfield tap. Yes.
you guys ever have games like that where you're like, I have the answer, I'm just not happy I have to pay the answer.
I have a path to extract from
It's
the-
like, I guess.
Island tapped.
How many cards do you have left in your bin?
Pretty amazing.
I have 2 in my bin right now.
So we're grabbing basic land. Island.
Go up to. Where's my storm token at? Whatever. This is gonna be storm token.
Maybe he's got a
Uh,
gamble in hand.
Storm is 1, 2, 3. The Bowmaster.
I mean,
Yep.
he's counting storm count right now, so
Oh, it's
I think he's all right.
Yeah.
Ranger Captain.
Ranger Captain.
Ranger
Yes,
Yep.
4.
4. Path,
Okay.
Breach,
Maybe
Bowmaster, Ranger.
I would like to cast a Dark Ritual.
Dark Writ,
Yeah.
increase storm count.
Y'all may both draw.
Also, get stuff
Okay,
at the grave.
I'm gonna decline.
Because you may be having to hardcast that twice.
Biscuit,
Okay.
you cut for me.
I'm
2.
assuming the Dark Ritual.
This is where Boseiju is just criminal.
Dark Red.
I'll make 3 black.
I mean, they obviously
He's
don't have it
making
right
a
now.
ton of stuff.
You would have used
Yeah.
it with the path on the stack.
Yeah, they're either hoping
I'll go to
something.
1 black mana.
The only other area of interaction is with Brain
Cast Demonic
Freeze,
Betrayal.
Storm Trigger on stack. Demonic
I mean that.
Betrayal.
Oh, no.
Oh, this is over. This is demonic tutoring
Yeah,
grave.
there's a demonic shooting
Yeah.
grave. This is easy mode.
This is clapped.
And a vamp too,
This
and a
is
silence.
where you're gonna have to besage you if you have it.
So
Oh, they don't
I
have
think
it.
I don't think they have it. I agree with
no,
Satellite.
I
Pass on
feel
the
very
stack, no
confident
cards
they do
engraved.
not have
he
it.
can just cast whatever.
This would be where
Huh?
Besage
Does he
would
have
hit.
enough mana already?
I have 3 mana available. That's
Yep.
on the board.
Silence. What is that? Vampiric Tutor. Every answer in the world. Nothing. Nothing for big. I mean, to be fair, they have a Nagila and not a Sisei out. This is clearly gone sideways.
Jewel Lotus. I mean, he can cast. His own mana
Fluster
spells.
Enlightened
Yeah, that's
doesn't matter. The Demonic Tutor
Yeah,
gets the win
so
here.
will.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Sacking
Don't
too.
tell me you have Besage. Oh my god, he actually.
Besage
He
you?
actually had Besage you.
Yeah,
Why
Yeah,
would
this
you
is
do
really the only
Jesus.
spot you're gonna be able to do it. Does
He
he
just
have?
blew up his breach.
Doesn't have mana
but-
for D slot.
I think he should have done it
Let's
on the
go.
pad,
Yeah, why
but
would you
this is
wait?
solid.
I don't understand.
This is solid. He went down more treasures. He could have hardcast a deflecting swat.
Yeah, I guess it's fair.
This
He
is.
still has a
I
black
don't think
floating,
it
right?
mattered either at that point. I have this in hand.
He has a black floating. He has a
Showing
Savines.
Savine's Wreck in hand.
He's literally saying LOL.
But
get fucked.
Savines doesn't matter here. Yeah.
He gets
I
a
have
back
2 treasures.
breach.
Well, do they have a
Yeah,
black?
but yeah, he doesn't have anything.
Yeah, they have a
after
black
breach.
floating.
Yeah, he
though.
has a black
Yeah, yeah.
floating. So
He has a
can
black
still
floating.
cast
Yeah.
Siege. Or not the Siege,
Well,
Savine.
I have an
He Savines. It's okay. He goes.
Oh,
But here's the
I have
problem.
a soul
Does he
ring in
have
hand to
Clay
cast
in
the
hand?
DT to go
Oh,
for
you know what? This is really gonna matter
Yeah,
is
Soul Ring.
Beseju gets a land. Right? Yeah, he's explaining how he has enough mana to get LED off the Demonic Tutor.
And he
Yeah.
is wheel.
This is game.
Do we want
Yeah,
mana?
yeah. Oh my God! Final Fortune Mind Break Trap.
let's fucking go. Let's have it all, I guess.
J Dog's got it.
I wanted to kill his tithe before
Haven't
it
you played
landed.
your land for George?
He's getting a land
But
from the
Beseju has
Beseju.
Beseju,
Yeah, because it matters. Like he is at 4 mana, and like
You know what? Maybe Big also has Beseju here. Let's go.
that would be the most epic way to just crush hopes and dreams.
That'd be the greatest sandbag in history.
Wow.
Jesus.
Dude, that was...
Nope.
Yeah, it
not
is.
gonna
He
do
played it.
Is it?
Yeah, he played it last turn.
No,
no,
he
you're done.
played it like turn 1, didn't he?
Yeah, I was about to say. I thought
Oh,
he
he
played.
played Deathrite turn 1.
Yeah.
That Noble came out this turn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's over.
Revealing hand shows nothing.
Yeah.
Now
What would
I'm-
have been if they had the spirit guide and like waited for TCM to put their hand down and was like, okay, I'm going to Beseju now. That would have been like a level of troll I have not seen in a long time.
Yeah, I think that's a game for J Dog. He wins.
Sounds good.
I don't have anything else.
I ended up getting
So-
fired coming in up TC.
Alright.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not sure if I'm stopping J Dog, but Dial is definitely not winning this game.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, my name is Max Derber, also known as Windy Satellite. I'm a co-host with Max Pfefferman on the podcast/YouTube channel Colors Are Crutch. You can join our Discord, and you can also we officially released for pre-order our Colors Are Crutch playmat as well as the Kinnan playmat I've been playing forever. So feel free to go check those out on the Shopify store. We'll have links to those in our YouTube video that should be releasing either tomorrow or Thursday. Thank you so much for having me. It was fun. Oh, Colors Are a Crutch.
Love that show.
Yeah, it just depends on time. Yeah, feel free to message me whenever if I'm around. I'm sure I'm down. I enjoy casting. It's fun.
Oh, 100%. If anybody needs coaching, I'm a glaze Wounded here for a second. Definitely hit this man up. Wounded's obviously a player I really enjoy talking, and super insightful about the game. They understand a lot about the format in general, not just about Kinnan, but the format as a whole. Obviously, has a lot to show for it. So, anytime if somebody has the chance and they want to become a better player, a coach that I will always recommend will. This guy is a great person to talk to, great person to shoot the shit with. So always go to them. Their podcast is awesome. I love every time I get to see his dog because his dog is so cute. Not as cute as mine, but it is what it is. But no, I really enjoyed you coming out today, man. I really enjoyed talking with you and being able to cast with you. Felt great.
I appreciate you, man. Appreciate the kind words. Oh, if you're interested in CAH coaching, which I don't just play Kinnan. I've played the last 4 tournaments on 4 different decks, and I was able to top with all of them. So I'm not just a Kinnan guy. You can find me on on Discord under Wounded Satellite and on Twitter as Wounded Satellite. Fun fact: Satellite is spelled with 2 L's. Some people can't figure that out. You can hope for the best. I don't know. Satellite, hard word. Some people put 2 T's in there. I'm like, damn.
Satellite, baby.
Satellite. Yeah, we really needed cursive. We use that every day, just like they said. I can't even tell you how many times in my day to day I use the Pythagorean theorem.
Oh, how many times we wouldn't have access to a calculator, so we had to learn
Yeah.
everything in our head.